Today is Saturday, October 26th. Here on The Newsworthy, we try to help you navigate the overload of news and information there is every day. But I'm guessing you still feel bombarded by it all sometimes, especially this election season. So today, in honor of the 10th annual U.S. Media Literacy Week, that is just wrapping up, we are talking about how to navigate media. From deciphering what's accurate or not, what's real or AI, what bias could be at play, and how to be a skeptic without cynicism. Later, you'll hear from Julie Mastrini from All Sides. It's a public benefit corporation that tries to free people from filter bubbles so they can better understand the world and each other. But first, I'm talking with Christina Vega of the News Literacy Project. It's a nonpartisan nonprofit that provides free training and resources for educators across the country to help them teach students how to separate fact from fiction. She's sharing new research about how many teens are believing conspiracy theories and using AI. Before we dive in, though, I do want to mention that we've created a one-page cheat sheet of sorts with 7 key questions to ask yourself to improve your media literacy. Get the download at thenewsworthy.com/media literacy. Okay, now let's get into it. Welcome to the Newsworthy Special Edition Saturday, when we sit down with a different expert or celebrity every Saturday to talk about something in the news. Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for our regular episodes, where we provide all the day's news in 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. It's now time for today's Special Edition Saturday. Christina Vega, thank you so much for joining us here on The Newsworthy.
Thanks for having me.
So first, let me just get your take overall about what media literacy is and whether you think most Americans are media literate enough.
So there's media literacy and there's news literacy. News literacy is a little more narrow and deals specifically with learning how to navigate the news and other information to understand what's credible and what you can believe. Media literacy deals more broadly with other forms of media as well, but basically it boils down to the ability to analyze and evaluate information to make sure that what you're consuming is accurate. Plenty of people struggle with media literacy, including students. Many people assume that students are digital natives and they just somehow intuitively know how to navigate our online information environment, but it's incredibly tricky.
To that point, I know you recently released the study results that specifically looked at American teens, including their exposure to and belief in conspiracy theories. So what was your reaction to some of the results?
Honestly, it's a little alarming how often teens say they see conspiracy theories online, and not only that, but how often teens say they believe at least one or more of those conspiracy theories. 8 in 10 American teenagers say they see conspiracy theories on social media at least once a week. Some of the most frequent narratives that they said they see circulating are about the 2020 election being rigged or stolen, about the COVID vaccine being dangerous, and about the earth being flat. Of all of those teens who told us that they see conspiracy theories, 81% of them said that they believe at least one. That is a huge number of teens who are being exposed to conspiracy theories and who are falling for them.
Let's talk specifically now about artificial intelligence. From a wide view, how do you think AI is impacting how people consume news and other media right now?
You know, I feel like there's this feeling that AI is just ubiquitous and become a part of our daily lives. And in a lot of ways it has, and it's been integrated into a lot of the, apps and features that we might use for work, for example. But when we asked teens about how often they're using AI, less than a quarter told us that they're using chatbots once a week or more. And put this in the category of encouraging students who had at least some exposure to media literacy instruction were more likely to correctly identify an image featuring a real person versus an AI-generated likeness. But the bigger picture and sort of the more dangerous thing has been that AI has created this culture of doubt where the waters are sort of just muddied about what is really true and what's not. And it kind of gives people a cover to dismiss things that they don't like or that they find uncomfortable as just being AI generated. I think right now, that's been the biggest impact we've seen of AI, believing things that might not be true or dismissing things that are true and just saying that it could be AI generated.
Yeah, have you seen that specifically with election coverage and how it's impacting politics?
Yeah, at the News Literacy Project, we have been collecting examples of election-related rumors for over a year now, and we have more than 700 examples. Somewhere around 7% have been created using AI. That number fluctuates a little bit depending on the week, but it hasn't been a huge number. But yeah, we saw people dismissing photos of, for example, Tim Walz's extended family wearing T-shirts supporting Trump, people dismissing that and saying it must be AI generated when it was a true photo. Trump posted an image that looked like Taylor Swift and her supporters supporting Trump. Taylor Swift has not endorsed Trump. She actually endorsed Kamala. And she noted that, the rise of AI was a factor in her deciding to go public with an endorsement.
What's your best advice for people to even just recognize AI content like we've been talking about if they come across it? Especially, if it's not labeled, which a lot of things are not.
Some really low-tech, old-school, good old-fashioned searching skills will help you determine whether something is AI generated. You can always just check a credible news site if you see an image of something really sensational, and you can only find it on this one random X account, and you don't see that any credible news organizations have also published that image, or that you find it anywhere else online. That's a good sign that it could be AI generated or otherwise just not true. And the other thing you can do is a simple reverse image search. You just kind of right click and you can search oftentimes, right? Depending on what browser you're using, right from that page. And you'll see all the other places online where that image shows up.
Are you worried about how Americans are going to navigate media in the future? We're already seeing, as we talked about, that trust going down. Is AI-generated content going to just make that worse? Like, what's your feeling or reaction to all of the data you've seen so far and where you know that AI technology is going?
We've seen that we are already in a pretty challenging place in terms of, again, trust in institutions, including the news media. And yes, you add in AI and it just adds this extra layer of disbelief or cynicism. But I really want the takeaway for people to be that you can learn how to determine what's real and what's not online. It's actually not that complicated. And just a few quick searches, having a few trusted sources that you can turn to will really go a long way to helping you make sense of everything that's out there.
One final thought or takeaway for our audience?
It's okay to question and to look for more information, but skepticism is healthy. Cynicism is not. When we're in a place that we don't trust any institutions or any information that is being put out by official channels, that's a dangerous place to be in. You can learn how to navigate information online. It does not have to feel overwhelming or impossible. And the thing about misinformation is that it cannot spread without people participating in it.
Still ahead, we talk more about trust in media, getting a broad news diet, recognizing AI-generated photos, and more. Julia Mastrini is the Director of Marketing and Media Bias Ratings at All Sides, working to expose people to headlines and information from all sides of the political spectrum. But first, a break for our sponsors. The Newsworthy is brought to you by Wildgrain. This fall, treat yourself and your loved ones to fresh, bake-from-frozen sourdough breads, fresh pastas, and artisanal pastries, as well as limited-time seasonal items like apple cider donuts from Wildgrain. Wildgrain's boxes are fully customizable. You've got the classic variety box. Then they recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan. In our box recently, we got fresh fettuccine and tonarelli, a beautiful sourdough loaf, flaky large croissants, slow fermented brioche rolls, and more. It's such a treat to have these high-quality, delicious options ready to go in our freezer, and then it's incredibly easy to bake. All items baked from frozen in just 25 minutes or less with no mess or cleanup. It's amazing. Are you ready to bring all your favorite carbs right to your doorstep? For a limited time, Wildgrain is offering our listeners $30 off the first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/newsworthy to start your subscription. That's wildgrain.com/newsworthy, or you can use the promo code newsworthy at checkout. This episode is also brought to you by Skims. Especially when I work from home, I don't like wearing jeans every day because they're not as comfortable as leggings, and I stretch them out just sitting at my computer. Yet, I'm getting a bit tired of wearing leggings every day. Well, I'm glad to say the SKIMS Soft Lounge fold-over pant is a great alternative, go-to option. I can wear them with the Soft Lounge matching tank, and I feel really put together, yet I'm really comfortable all day. By the way, I love the matching tank so much that I wear it with pretty much everything, not just the fold-over pant. And yes, I'm still wearing my Soft Lounge long slip dress. It's really the best one-and-done outfit that I can dress up or down. I wore it on vacation recently, hanging out by the pool, and I've dressed it up, worn it out to a nice dinner. And I feel great every time. Shop the SKIMS Soft Lounge Collection at skims.com. Now available in sizes extra, extra small to 4X. If you haven't yet, be sure to let them know I sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select the Newsworthy in the drop-down menu that follows. Okay, now to my conversation with Julie Mastrini. Julie Mastrini, thank you so much for joining us here on The Newsworthy.
Thank you for having me, Erica. I'm happy to be here.
So I'd love to just first talk about what media literacy is, particularly in today's world. What is media literacy to you?
The ability to think critically about the media that you're consuming. So to not just blindly ingest and accept everything that comes your way, but to actually ask questions, dig into sources, and understand that a lot of the content, whether it's news or social media content or content from influencers coming your way, and all of that is under the umbrella of media. A lot of the content coming your way is trying to persuade you, or it has an agenda, or there's something behind it, whether that's a financial interest, a political interest, a corporate interest. Media literacy to me means understanding that and being able to approach media with a critical eye. You're always going to have to, as a news consumer, put on your critical thinking cap, maybe do some of your own research, make sure you're getting a broad view.
I mean, at the end of the day, it makes media literacy difficult.
It is, yeah. It's a colossal task that we have because we now have, first, the 24/7 cable news cycle was revolutionary. Now we have social media where we have all these independent sources, citizen journalists, so to speak, influencers, commentators that have all the tools at their disposal to push something out and get 1 million views, right? So you're constantly being tasked with sorting through information and assessing and using your discernment as to whether or not that information is credible, if it's well sourced. So it is a very big task.
Do you think that there should be classes, required for young people about this type of thing because it is so vast in today's digital world?
Yeah, I do think media literacy is becoming one of those core issues that should be up there with mathematics and English and, everything that students learn in school. Like media literacy at this point, we are just so saturated with media now that, the average person has a smartphone and access to media 24/7 right in their pocket. This is really becoming a really crucial issue that we should teach children about.
What other big takeaways that we haven't talked about yet would you offer people to better navigate media?
They need to have a broad media diet. And I know that can sound ridiculous in a world where, of course, we all have a broad media diet. We're getting bombarded with media 24/7. But really, expanding on your sources. And what I mean by that is actually consuming content from people that have kind of wildly different opinions or perspectives or approaches can help you to sort out what's true and false, because you can kind of compare content against each other.
What's your take on the impact of AI already on the election and on media?
There's a lot of issues there. I think the main thing that I've been seeing is just AI-generated photos tricking people. For example, I saw a photo going around a lot last week, and it was a little girl clutching a puppy in a boat. To me, it was very clearly AI generated. It just had that like uncanny valley sort of sense to it. But I saw so many people sharing it on Facebook saying, oh, this photo deserves a Pulitzer Prize. What a heart-wrenching photo. And it was just so clearly, to me, AI generated, but people didn't know.
What tools do you think news consumers need to have to be able to navigate that? And what should the role of journalists be to help news consumers identify these things?
Right now, AI-generated content, it's not always detectable, but like in the example of the photo I gave, to my human eye, it was detectable. And some of that is just a gut check. It's just something I think we're all needing to keep an eye on, and then also hold ourselves to a high standard of making sure we inform people when something is AI generated.
What's your take on just the balance of, as the trust of media declines, at the same time, we rely on news organizations to provide us with valuable information. So how do you kind of think about that balance?
The United States ranks last or close to last consistently amongst 46 countries in media trust. I do think it's contributed a lot to political breakdown and social chaos, right? And then at the same time, we do need to keep an eye on our government entities and our elites and, the people at the top in positions of power. So there is some turning of the tide where newsrooms are realizing that these things are connected. And I do think that mitigating bias and keeping an eye on bias is a way to bolster trust.
Well, thank you to Julie Mastrini from All Sides, as well as Christina Vega from the News Literacy Project for sharing their insights with us. You can learn more about the News Literacy Project by going to newslit.org. They have wonderful resources for both educators and just everyone about news literacy. And be sure to also check out allsides.com for headline comparisons, media bias ratings, and more. And finally, because we also feel passionate about this topic here at The Newsworthy, and Media Literacy Week just happened, we created a sort of cheat sheet for you that I hope can be something you use to remind yourself of some of these points and maybe start a conversation with your kids, your family, or your friends. This one-pager uses the acronym CAREFUL to help you identify some key things to look for, question, and consider. We've titled it 7 Ways to Check If News is Biased or False. Grab the cheat sheet by going to thenewsworthy.com/media literacy, and you'll get the download for free. And of course, we try to make your life easier every day by doing some of this work for you and giving you 10-minute news roundups based on credible sources and a wide variety of perspectives every Monday through Friday right here on the Newsworthy podcast. So thank you for listening today, and we'll be back on Monday with more news you need to know. For now, enjoy the rest of your weekend.